Hello everyone, welcome to Tarish TV, where we bring you information from around the world. Please, we would like you to subscribe to this channel, so if you are yet to subscribe, and please don't forget to click the bell icon so that you can get notification whenever a new update is posted. Thank you. 160 stranded Nigerians depart US for Abuja. The first batch of Nigerians stranded in the United States due to the coronavirus pandemic are on their way back home from the US, I beg your pardon. The news agency of Nigeria reports that 160 Nigerians, including 8 infants, made the first batch of evacuees. They are returning aboard an Ethiopian Airlines Boeing 787 aircraft under the special flights arrangements by the federal government for nationals stranded abroad. In line with the government's pre-departure infection prevention control guidelines, temperature checks were conducted on the passengers by a special medical team. The plane departed the New York International Airport, New Jersey, on Saturday around 8:20 p.m. local time. That is about 1:20 a.m. in Nigeria on Sunday. It is expected to arrive at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, around noon time on Sunday. On arrival, the evacuees would be quarantined for 14 days in Abuja before leaving for their respective destinations in the country. At the airport, to coordinate the departure activities were officials of the Nigerian consulate in New York, led by the Consul General Benaoyaga Okonye. Also, around to bid the evacuees farewell was Tijani Mohammed Bande, President of the United Nations General Assembly and Nigeria's permanent representative to the UN. He was joined by Samson Iteboje, the Deputy Permanent Representative of Nigeria to the United Nations, among others. Speaking to journalists, Mr. Okonye lauded the evacuees for their cooperation and orderly conduct throughout the process. It was successful and we are happy that everything was orderly. As you must have observed, the boarding was so orderly, he said. Some of the passengers who spoke to News Agency of Nigeria expressed gratitude to the federal government for the special flight arrangement. Jato Ibrahim, a consultant orthopedic surgeon at the Federal Medical Center, Jigawa, said he was in the US for a training program in February. Ibrahim said he was stranded after his return British Airways flight scheduled for April 10th was suspended following federal government travel restrictions on US and 12 other countries with high COVID-19 burden on March 18. Another evacuee, Chidi Ikebu, a businessman from Imo State, said a business engagement took him to the US in March. However, Mr. Ikebu, who traveled through Ethiopian Airlines, said he had to pay for the special flight after the airline refused to let him use his return ticket for the flight. I called the airline, but they said our return tickets were valid until December, and so we had to wait for the return flight after the restrictions were lifted in Nigeria. They said, but if we wanted to go now through the special flight, then we had to pay for it, he said. Reacting to this, Million Liges, the traffic and sales manager of Ethiopian Airlines, New York, said any of the evacuees with a return ticket could use it for a US to Nigeria flight in the future. But if the passengers are no longer going to use the return tickets, we would refund them based on our refund policy, Mr. Legis said. It was Obilo, a US-based Nigerian medical doctor who was part of the medical team that screened the passengers, said their temperatures were normal. Temperature taking is one of the criteria to determine COVID-19 symptoms. Although it is not enough, because there are people with the virus who are not symptomatic. It will give us an overview of their health. Since they will be quarantined for 14 days in Nigeria, at least we are sure none of them has fever that will affect them during the flights, the official told news agency of Nigeria. So guys, be that as it were, what are your thoughts concerning this particular news story? It is what it is. About 160 Nigerians have been evacuated aboard the Ethiopian Airlines, and they are returning back home. It is worthy of note and worthy to be noted that these returnees were people who were stranded, in the U.S. They were stranded in the U.S. because they were already in the U.S. before the flight restrictions were actually pronounced, and so they were caught up, and they had to be there, and they have engagements back home in Nigeria, which is bringing them back home. And thankful, the federal government's efforts to evacuate them and bring them back home has yielded good results via an arrangement with the Ethiopian airline. So they are on their way presently, and they should be arriving the country any moment from now. So what are your thoughts concerning this particular news story? Do you think it's a good move, and do you think it's an interesting one? It's a worthy effort? Well, it is what it is. The Nigerian government have said and made promises that they were going to ensure that over 4,000 or about 4,000 stranded Nigerians across nations of the world will be evacuated home. But the condition attached to it is that they have to pay for their flight tickets, as it were. So be that as it is, a few days ago, some were evacuated from Dubai, the United Emirates flight, and now others have been evacuated from the United States. And you will also recall that other nations have been evacuating their nationals from Nigeria as well. So it is not a new thing, and it is not something out of the blues. It is what it is. Those who are stranded and feel that they have to go back home and they could not go back home, the federal government or the government are making special arrangements for them to be evacuated back home to continue their activities and their businesses as it were. So it is what it is. That is what it is, guys. It is a good effort, and I will welcome them back home. But it is worthy of note that they will be quarantined for 14 days, should in case they have symptoms or should in case they have contacted the coronavirus, and they will be tested and will be quarantined. So once they are tested, after the 14 days, they are tested and they are negative, then they will be allowed to rejoin the society and go back home to their families. So guys, what are your thoughts? It is the time that we are in. This is the kind of time situation and we find ourselves in this country. So we just have to continue managing the situation. And be that as it were, the restriction on flights, both local and international, is still on, has just been extended by another 4 weeks. That is to say, there are going to be serious challenges for people to actually travel this particular period, as we hope and believe that the issues with the coronavirus will actually die down any moment from now. We'll enjoy people to continue to maintain social distancing, to continue to wash their hands properly with soap and water, and also to use their face masks whenever they are going into gatherings of people. It is what it is. Let's just take a few reactions as to what people are saying. Someone just say, you didn't tell them interstate movement is restricted. continue feeding them in the hotel until you ease the movement. Well, it's what it is. They will get to know. They ought to have known, from information on social media if they've been following up. And by the time they get to Abuja, they definitely will be informed about the interstate movement that is restricted. Omar Samuel says they will have to be quarantined. Yes, it has been said already that they will be quarantined. So it is what it is, guys. Kindly drop by the comment section. Let's know what your thoughts are. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Also, please hit the bell icon so you can get notification whenever we post new stories. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you on the other news. Thank you and bye for now.